aparatul foto să ce poze, bine? Bun, haideți să începem. Mă bucur să fim cu toți aici, mai ales că azi e și o altă conferință și cumva multă parte dintre, cel puțin din publicul nostru, i-am văzut dincolo. Astăzi vom vorbi în principiu despre Automotive, dar nu numai, vom acoperi și domenii precum SEO sau, haideți să vedem de fapt despre ce e vorba. Sau, da, fiscal și așa mai departe. Bun, vom ok. Do we have Arthur here? Okay, so we should switch to English. Okay, yeah, let's switch to English. So any speaker who wants to speak in Romanian is welcome. If you can speak in English, it's better because Arthur is here and yeah, we want him to understand us. Okay, so the first presentation will be about regenerable fuel, and you will see a presentation about a tour of the Europe, trying to use as few fuel as possible and to be as efficient as possible and to release few CO2 stuff. Then we'll continue with a management article from Ramona about automotive industry. I'm not sure if she's in the room. N-am prezentarea. Mi-a trimis-o pe mail? Da? Ok, atunci, ok, bun. Și dacă una lipsește, deci dacă l-am dat una bun. Okay, so we'll continue then with the Bosch Tram suite. Here we'll see some graphical nice demos and the practical implementation in Cluj, as far as I know. Then Ramona will talk about SEO, so we'll see some very practical and with some real data examples. And then Adrian will talk us about the latest fiscal changes in Romania and how we can adapt as software developers. I don't want to ask him too many questions, but yeah, we probably will do. And then we'll go with Paul about Android app state. We'll see a design pattern applying in Android, and the article is very technical. And at the end, if you will still be here, we'll talk with Andrei and Ramona about in automotive industry, and I hope you will enjoy it. Okay, so basically this will be the agenda for today. Let's thanks to our partners, and I like to give the floor to Adrian, who will say a few words from the guest. Okay.
So, hi everyone. Welcome to Engineering Center Cluj. My name is Adrian Grigore. I'm responsible for a department dealing with function development or software function development for the powertrain mainly. We are really glad here to host this event, as in the end it's become a tradition here, a yearly tradition. Each September we host the launch of the Today's Software magazine, now reaching 159, I saw. So hopefully many numbers still to go. What's my goal today, or what I wish to show you, is a few words about the Engineering Center Cluj, what we do here, who we are. So roughly, this is not my first slide. No. a few highlights about us. So roughly we are 1,700 employees here, located in two places, so Cluj and Jucu. What we do here, we offer solutions and software services or hardware, reliability engineering, and customer project management solutions. Not to forget the support that we offer for the global sales department. From here, Cluj, this is basically our department who forecasts the sales of our group in the markets where we are active. It's a planning done for example, for the next 5 years. And we do have an important contribution there. What we're mostly proud of here as a highlight is that since 2013, we developed data-driven and AI-based solution in fields like automated driving, connected mobility, and electrification. A few milestones that would, let's say, highlight the commitment of Bosch to this location are shown here on the right. So in 2020, we moved into our own building. Here is the one where we are sitting. In 2021, construction for the second building has started. This is the one over there, which has been finished in 2024. Not to forget, we, as a player, as an actor, we try to position ourselves in the world of Bosch as, let's say, a future-oriented stakeholder, and proof of this is mostly the 100 patents or inventions that we put annually from this location. As seen here, so our areas of activity, our majority of activity is related to the mobility industry, highlighted there, and the multi-market. Yeah. Whether we talk about driver assistance and the automated driving, radar or ultrasonic system, whether we talk about powertrains, whether it's thermal engine, whether it's a hydrogen engine, whether it's an electrified engine, we offer solutions for that, albeit software, hardware design, or mechanical and reliability design. We here are, let's say, we have strong partnerships with the local university, and proof for that stand the 3 master programs that we have, the many educational programs that we offer to the students and courses, and last but not least, the already on the 8th edition, the Bosch Future Mobility Challenge that we organize each year. This is a student challenge in the end that has now gone really international, and it's quite famous. I think this year the winners from it were from Canada, if I remember, and roughly we had teams in the contest from all over the world, so North America, South America, Asia, and so on. That is more or less it. That's us, and me personally looking forward to see the technical presentations for today. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you very much. That's fine. Okay, and sorry for this. And the next presentation will be with that. Okay. Yes. Sorry, my. Okay, so Tour de l'Europe will be the next presentation. Gabriel.
Hello. funcționează.
Butonul la mare.
Asta?
Da. Și eu la...
Okay, so hello everyone, I'm Gabi. I'm a cloud architect here in Bosch Engineering Center. My main responsibilities are the infrastructure, security, and also the customer onboarding. And for this project, I was also a driver. So today I will present about the Bosch Digital Fuel Twin Solution and also the Tour d'Europe initiative, which was a project that we took as a pilot. I will start with the context. So nowadays, 80% of, so roughly 80% of the vehicles that are around the world and around the Europe are using combustion engines. So I mean they are either running on HVO, so on diesel, and also other fossil carburants. And 20% of the vehicles, of the current vehicles, are running with electrical engines, or they have a hybrid combination. Well, from 2013, there is a trend and there is some expectation that the number of the electrical vehicles and also the hybrid ones will increase. But a good percentage, so roughly around 30% of the vehicles will still run with the combustion engines. And if you can imagine, for the heavy-duty vehicles like the trucks and so on, it will be really hard for them to switch completely to the electrical due to the range and so on and other limitations that they have. So the question is how we handle this kind of vehicles even after the 2013. Well, the answer is simple. There are some renewable fuels, and there is a possibility now to track as of now the fuel that is put in a car, and this is something that we wanted to demonstrate using the Tour d'Europe. Nowadays, what is interesting to find out that the current infrastructure is already there for these renewable fuels, and as you can see here, there are also some applications which can help you to find out where you can find these kind of fuels. What makes these fuels specific is that instead of a normal diesel, for example, in case if you put inside your vehicle the HVO, then the carbon footprint will be reduced because these fuels actually have some additives inside which help you to reduce the CO2 emissions. And currently, you can already refuel, of course not in the area of Romania, but what was interesting to find out that in Spain and Portugal we had really good coverage, whereas for example in case of France there was not so many filling stations that we could refuel with these special fuels. How the digital fuel twin actually works, so we start from the refinery. When we spoke with the refineries, from here we actually get the proof of sustainability. Actually, each fuel that it gets produced has a certificate which confirms the coefficients of the fuel, meaning you know the provenience of this fuel and you know exactly if it's something that can reduce the CO2 emissions or not. And from there we start by collecting this information. Then we also aim for offering the traceability of the fuel until it gets to the filling station, meaning usually you have a distributor which goes to a refinery, pick up the fuel, and then it delivers back to the filling station in order to sell the fuel. And then as a last player, we have the vehicle which actually refuel and put this fuel in the vehicle. And at the end, what you will get out of the DFT, and I'll show later, it's a certificate where you can see exactly what was the fuel that was put inside your vehicle. Now, as an architecture, so on one side we had actually the tank farms, so the refineries that produces the fuel, and the distributors which were sending the data via API to our cloud. Whereas on the other side we had the part of the vehicle. So in case of the vehicles running in the Tour d'Europe, we had installed some ECUs with a SIM card for the network connectivity. And from there, we had a small software installed into the vehicle, which actually recognized if the fuel was put into the tank of the vehicle or not. And then after this recognition was made, then it was sent back to our cloud in order to detect that it was a refuel in the vehicles. On the other side, what was also interesting was we had some OEMs, some partners, which actually prefer to send via cloud directly. So meaning they have their own solution, they collect data from the vehicles, and then using our API, they directly send to us the refueling events. Now, in case of the CO2 certificate, let's make an example. Let's suppose 2 days ago, a raffinery in Jucu produces a fuel. Let's say it's HVO, which has a lower carbon footprint and it reduces the emissions. Yesterday, for example, a truck came to the Jucu, pick up the fuel, and then it delivered back here in Grigorescu to the filling station. And then today I was with my car and I refueled, I put HVO inside my car, and then the process stops. When you get this certificate, you will have all the timestamps, which is important, so all the timings when these operations performed, and also for the movement of this fuel, because you can imagine if you move from one tank to the other, it can be mixed. Can be there some leftovers, like for example fossil fuel, like normal diesel and so on. So for us as DFT, was really important to certify all the movements of the fuel until it gets back to the vehicle. And this we did. And we did really well. It was a big project with Tour de Europe. Tour de Europe was an initiative from Fuels de Europe. Our vision here and our mission was actually to orchestrate as Bosch all the activities, meaning besides the technical challenges, we had to also cover the part of the stakeholders to convince different customers that it's safe to send the data to us, because in the end we are in the cloud and you have to make sure that your data is not leaked and so on. So what we managed with the Tour de Europe, so we had more than 75,000 of kilometers driven. We also had 17 participating countries. As I mentioned, Spain was there, Italy was there, Portugal and others as well. And we had in total 16 vehicles, including passenger cars, which means we had some normal vehicles like that are used by every user every day. And we had also the heavy duty. So we had also the tracks to track. What we also managed to achieve here is 80% of this fuel was successfully certified by us. So meaning we issued these certificates to the end users, and more than 67% we managed to reduce CO2 by putting these renewable fuels. An interesting story was during the Spain and Portugal, I was happy that I had the coverage, so I managed to refuel with HVO only. But when I reached to France, I was really close to do, we call in Romania, pana prostului. So it means I was close to remain without any fuel. So I had to do a refueling into a filling station, which of course was not onboarded. We didn't know the source of the fuel. But anyway, this was also part of the tour. As I mentioned, only some 85% was certified in the end. So we managed to achieve the goal, and I managed to escape from this fault. Now here you can see some pictures from the tour. I was part of this. As an architect, actually, there is no other bigger rewarding than seeing this in action. Meaning you are there in the front line, you test this solution, you see how it works, you see the limitations, and in the end you can be part of the last pictures, and you can appear in videos and so on, which I also was part of. So now I will conclude my presentation. So I would say that Tour de Europe, it's about people, because technically, yes, we have solutions. We have cloud solutions. We have different solutions also for connectivity towards vehicle to the cloud and so on. But what makes this challenging was actually to convince everyone to align and to be together to this dream, and actually to show that these renewable fuels can also represent a future of mobility, not only the electrical part, which is a dream that I'm not sure if it will be successfully realized. Please, can you please show the video?
Okay.
Thank you so much. So that was all. Mai este un microfon, așa?
Ok. Bun, scuze că am zăpăcit. Dacă avem întrebări? Ok, Sebi.
Acolo, da.
Aici. Hai că mergem aici și lăsăm pe Sebi la final.
Short question. What type of cloud are you using? A private cloud from Bosch or something? Or it's a public cloud like from AWS or Google or so?
Yes, it's AWS, so we use a public cloud.
Okay, because there are maybe some concerns if you're using the public cloud especially for security and so on.
Yes, and we had to convince actually all the players that we are safe with what we are doing. And by that, we introduced a data room concept, how to actually segregate the data from the moment of sending until it reaches and stored in our database.
Okay, thank you. Just one extra question regarding
Sure.
regarding the vehicles. Are you receiving certain information, for example, VIN or something? Are you processing the VIN of the vehicle? Are you processing location data or not?
So in case of the vehicle, for example, in the OEM cloud situation, you know that there were two situations, one with the vehicle directly sending to us,
Yeah.
and the second one from the OEM. In the case of OEM, we got only the MAC address, meaning the VIN was never present. In our case, we generating a UUID for each vehicles when we do the onboarding.
Okay.
Actually, we don't care about license plates, about the VINs. What we care is what you mentioned, is the GPS location. But this one, we send encrypted version of it.
Okay, I understand that. Okay, thank you.
Good questions, thank you.
Ok. Sebi.
Okay, so it's first time I'm hearing about HVO. So how is different than biodiesel?
I think it's about from what is produced, because in the case of the HVO, what I saw, it's from cooked oil or something like that, extracted and made. I think it's about the source from where it's from the source that is inside the fuel. I'm not 100% sure because I was only part of the digitalization, actually.
And can we buy this from Romania?
No. Unfortunately, so we were in discussions. There were some starting discussions actually, but was nothing concrete yet.
Do you know if it's more expensive than?
It is a bit. Because also what I got when I visited one raffinery is that they, even though they have the infrastructure already there, it consume more time. What means, because if you have the fuel, they have to send to a certificator. And then it takes 1 or 2 months until you get a certificate, and then you can sell it. So as time, it takes more time to be able to sell this type of fuel. So therefore, it's expensive. Then a bit more expensive than the normal diesel.
Thank you, Gabriel. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you. And the next presentation will be from Ramona. It will be about, I know, management, let's say. Acum apare și prezentarea. Butonul la mână să fie de next. La început? Nu mai. Nu? Cine merge oare? Stai că nu mai știu nici. Stai.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Auzit? Hai. Deci, da. So the presentation is called PPAP, so dosarul cu șină in automotive, and you'll have to explain this to Max, what it means, since He's not fluent in Romanian, I understood. So I had a feeling that he will be here today. So that's why the presentation is in English. But it will be about quality management process, and I will tell you more about it. First of all, thank you for the invitation. It's very nice to be here again, also as a former employee of Bosch, and this is a center of the automotive world for me here in Cluj, so I'm happy to have this presentation here. I believe next month you will be at our offices for the launch of the October issue, and hopefully we will also have a presentation in this area. But a few months ago, I think in summer, you were also at our place, and Ovidiu, or our head of consulting of Petrei, he had a presentation about our team, and I think a question was left in the air about what we do. So my name is Ramona Lazăr. I'm from P3 Romania today, and these are some key figures about our company. It is a German company based in Stuttgart with almost 2,000 employees. I think next year it will be 30 years old. But we don't do just consultancy. These are the three main pillars of our activities. And I hope my colleague Paul is also here today. He will tell you more about Android in automotive later today. I will talk about, as I said, a quality management process that we do. And you can find it, I would say, here in product process compliance. This is where most of the consultants in our company do have their activities. As you can see, we are spread around the world, and looking at the locations in Europe and in Germany, you will see we're trying to stay close to the customers that we have. As I said, the main office is in Stuttgart. This is also where my client is. So I've been working for Porsche now for more than 2 years in the process that I will show to you. And yes, you can find us at the locations here or in Cluj next month. All right, so I don't know how many of you have heard of PPA or PPAP or the VDA. I see some triggered faces. But if you've worked in automotive, for sure you have a process or a product that needs to be approved, that needs to be released. Whether this is a European OEM, a German one, an American one, a Chinese one, you definitely need to go through this. So PPAP stands for either Production Part Approval Process or PPA, Procesul de Aprobare a Piețelor de Producție. In română, the Germans call it PPF or Bemusterung. It doesn't matter, it's the same. Yeah? So in Europe, we go by, we follow this manual of the VDA. It's not a standard, it's not a law, it's a manual published by the VDA, which details the requirements of a car manufacturer to their suppliers. So whether it's in an ECU or just hardware or just software, this is a manual of roughly 100 pages, and it has to be followed when you put out, before starting the production of a product. All right. If you're working with American manufacturer or Chinese manufacturers, you will probably follow the IAG. This is the counterpart of the VDA. This is the American Association, and they have a similar manual. You will probably go by that, which is different. However, the basis of it is indeed a standard. It's the IATF 16949, which is also known as the Quality Bible. Each of you working in the automotive industry does something according to it, either you know it or not. So this is how the manufacturers put in place the PPAP process following this standard. All right, good. What are the outcomes of this process? So what does it regulates? First of all, that the product is in place, but also the production process. Yeah, so it's always two main points that we are looking at. And of course, this process has to be standardized. So nowadays, with so many suppliers, the VDA manual puts in place a standardization of this process. And of course, the supplier needs to know what do I need to deliver to my client so he can accept my product. But the main objective that we need to keep in mind is that you as a supplier, because Bosch is a supplier, yes, needs to fulfill all the requirements of your customer, whether they are technical, so functional or non-functional requirements, the legal requirements, cybersecurity, safety requirements. You need to prove that by going through this process, the PPA process, all right? What else is important? The latest edition came out in 2020, and there were some aspects that were added. And one of them is the fact that there is an agreement made at the once you have won the project. Yeah, so let's say you're winning a project. You as Bosch, you're winning the project with Porsche. Let's say, yeah, you should, and you don't have to, but you really are encouraged by the VDA Association to have an agreement at the beginning to say what will you ask for me at the end, because the process of development might take years, right? So there's even an annex offered as an example in the manual, so you can put there all the details. How many sample parts do you deliver? Where are your production places? How should the software look like? What is the required ASPICE level? And so on. Okay, when do we use it? We use it, of course, for new parts. We use it when you change your parts, when you reuse your parts, or when the customer wants to, or you want to requalify that product. And you use it for finished parts, of course, for spare parts, for raw parts, even for production materials, of course, as long as they are not the standard ones which are defined by EMDS, right? And a new addition to the 2020 edition is that we also do now PPA for software as a product or for software as part of a product. Yeah, and this is, I can imagine, or I remember, the case of most of your projects. Yes, your software goes into a system, it goes into an ECU, and it has to go through this PPA process. You might not have been involved until now, could be, but for sure, the work that you do here flows into the deliverables of the PPA process. Okay, how does it end? Yeah. Also, with the latest edition, in theory, it can end two ways. In practice, it ends in a third way, okay? So the best case is that you get your okay, you close the process, you can start the production. The second case is you've done something wrong, you have not fulfilled all the requirements, the process is stopped. In reality, you get away with it a little, okay? So you usually get a management release. Does it say no? You usually get a management release for some of the deviations you might still have in your product. Yeah. So let's say for a limited period of time, you can produce those parts, or for a limited number of parts, you can deliver them, and then fix that problem, and then you'll have to repeat the process. All right. Good. This is an image from the manual from chapter 6, which shows the flow of the PPA process, which is split into two parts. Don't worry, I won't get into all the details of it, but it's important to see that you have two levels. Yeah. So first, the organization which is the supplier and the customer. And why is it important? Because also a new addition, to the 2020 edition of the volume, is that the supplier shall do a self-assessment first in his organization. Yeah. So first do the process for yourself, and then go with that recommendation or your internal results to the customer and say, okay, we are done, we are ready, or we still have some work to do. Here are some deviations, and please, customer, let me get by with these deviations, and I will fix them in a matter of, I don't know, months or weeks or whatever. What's also important is that it may be required that you deliver some samples to the client, and also remember to agree on that. How many samples does he need? Some clients need 2 samples, some clients need 20 samples. And also expect the client to come to your location. Yeah, so expect the client to say, I want to come to Jucu and see the production line for myself. That's also something he can do. What's a complete showstopper are the legal requirements, yes, for reasons we can imagine. So once you have not fulfilled a legal requirement, the process is automatically stopped. If you're producing a product in Jucu or in Blaj or in Abstadt, you will have to do this PPAP process every time. Yeah, so you have to go through it every time, even if it's the same product family. Of course, you can still use some deliverables, all right? So you don't have to do an ASPICE assessment every time. You can use, if the project team is the same, there are things that you can reuse, all right? And the harmonization. So don't worry if you have an American customer or a Chinese customer. In the following months or years, they will somehow align the VDA and the IAG. I know for the Chinese suppliers, they're already using a hybrid of IAG and VDA. And for sure, in the next years, we will have just one version of this process. Good. 2 more slides I want to show you. I don't know if I mentioned it at the beginning, but what I do for Porsche is mainly the software part. Yes, so the hardware, the production part is taken care of another colleague, and I look at the I'm responsible for the software part, and this is the part. These are the deliverables in the manual that are required for the software part. And again, I will not go through all of them. You see there are 11 points that are required. And if you have a good product maturity, if you have done this before, it will be nothing more than a dosarul cu șină. Yeah? So you'll be fine. But these 2 chapters are, we see in practice, sometimes challenging, and they might cost you a lot of effort, and then they might put you at risk in front of your customer. So the first one is 6.5, the requirement implementation. So there you will have to prove to your customer that you have implemented everything he has required, everything he has not required, but has required indirectly. Yeah. So if you're working with Porsche, going back to my example, you will also have the Volkswagen requirements that you have to implement, all right? So, or the legal requirements, the functional safety requirements. Everything will pop up a few months before you're done, and everybody will look at the requirements manager or the system architect and ask him, okay, how do we show it? Well, it's not that easy, all right? So start in time and make sure that you have all the requirements, all the Lastenhefte, yeah, all the agreements with your customers put in place, and everything is agreed and clean. Also, if you use several tools, I don't know, maybe you work indoors, one of your sub-suppliers works in another system, getting everything aligned, and also the testing, yeah, the test results, to prove them at the end. It might kill your BPA, it might bring delays in your project, and I can tell you for sure that it does more often than you think. The last point is the ASPICE requirement. I don't know how many of you have been involved in, I see some triggering on your faces. All right, so also plan this ahead of time. Yeah, ASPICE is not something that you can achieve easily. Clarify what the customer wants from you, what level. Usually Volkswagen asks for level 2. I hope that's also what your clients ask. But you need a solid team for this. You need mature project for this. This is nothing that you can achieve in a few months. All right. So, good. Then I will jump to the last slide. I hope I still have some minutes. All right. And this is the slide where I mapped my responsibility as a software quality planner. Your organization might call it somehow else, I don't know. But this is the role that was implemented by Volkswagen to make sure that the suppliers of their companies in the group follow the PPA process, the software quality planner. Yeah. And here in the middle, on the middle swim lane, you will see the production milestones, the main one. Yeah, so I've not put here all the small milestones, but here mapped, you can see the part where we plan the activities with our direct counterparts from the suppliers. So we do a quality management plan. We say, okay, these are the metrics and these are the KPIs that we will follow. These are the milestones that we agree on. And for example, this is the ASPICE target that you need to achieve. This is the planning part. This is the easy part, all right? The big chunk of work is done here, where we manage the project together with the technical colleagues, right? So here we monitor that the KPIs are reached, that we see the risks in time, that the supplier sees the risks in time, and we also escalate. So you really don't want to go through an escalation program with Volkswagen. Try to avoid that. How can you do that? Make sure that the quality planner of your customer has a counterpart in your organization, right? So this person will go to your project team and ask for the KPIs, ask for measures, ask for good planning, all right? And here in the end, you see the PPA is actually just a small part, last part of the process. Once you have done all of this, based on all of this, you will be fine. And at the end, you will have the dosar cu șină to Volkswagen and done.
Looks like a really nice process.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so we have, if it's fine,
Yeah.
we have time for one question if you have one from the audience. Okay.
A question related maybe to the collaboration part. How do you deal with the team when they have to implement and you have to get them to agree to the processes, and how does that work?
Well, luckily I'm on the client side, you know, and my counterpart at the supplier side has these challenges. But the most challenging part of my job at Porsche is indeed to work with the technical team at Porsche side, because they're just as unhappy to have quality activities of any kind just as your supplier or you as suppliers. Yeah, so I would say that the most challenging part of anybody doing quality management in automotive is having this synergy with the technical teams. Indeed, either you're an OEM or a supplier.
Okay, thank you, Ramona. And if you have more questions, we can ask her during the panel, which will come soon. Okay, thank you, Ramona. And let's go to Diana and Ovidiu, who will talk about the Tram stuff. Deschid acum prezentarea.
Bine. okay. We can stream via. Yeah. I guess we should introduce ourselves until Ovidiu does the setup. So hi, I am Diana, and I work as a software engineer here at Bosch. I mainly develop computer vision and deep learning algorithms, and yeah, we work in the rail industry for this.
So, de la dosar cu șină la șină de tramvai.
Literally șină. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we're going to talk about building the foundation for rail automation. So me together with my colleague Ovidiu. Yes, okay. So what do we have for today? Yeah, first we'll say a few words about this topic of automation, but for the rail industry. Then we will make an analogy with how us as humans perceive the surroundings. And then we're going to talk about the product that we develop in our department, BG, and that's called the Bosch Tram suit. Yeah, so regarding this topic of automated driving, you're probably familiar with it, but mainly from the automotive domain. Well, for rail, it's a similar approach. We basically have these grades of automation. We have grade 0, where the driver does everything manually. And then we have up to the 4th level, where the tram can just drive by itself, so there is no need for human intervention anymore. Yeah, our approach is a gradual one, because first, when we want to go from one level to the other, we try it in depot scenarios, because it's an environment where we can better control it and have these low speed applications. And then we do the level up to city drive. Yeah, as I said, we decided to make this human analogy to explain how an automated system like this works on a tram. And yeah, let's just take an example. How are we doing when we are in traffic? We see a green or a red light, and what are we doing? So we get first the information with our eyes, then we process it with the brain, and then we take action using our muscles. So either we move or we stop. That's what we decide. So an automated system that is on a tram, yeah, it's a similar approach. Maybe it's a naive comparison, but to understand it better, it just uses some other tools. So hope you like the AI generated images. The main component is the eye, and yeah, for the tram or for the system that is mounted on a tram, that's represented by multiple sensors, and I will present you the set of sensors that we have. So we are using the primary eye, how we called it, and that's the MPC3 track camera. It's our Bosch camera. And has a system on chip that performs AI algorithms. So we have neural networks that are detecting, for example, the traffic lights, the persons, the vehicles, or the turnouts, for example, in case of the tram. Yeah, and we also have the semantic segmentations for the track. Then we have the all-weather eye, that's the 4th generation of radar, and with that we measure the distance to objects, and that performs well in different weather conditions compared to the camera, for example. Yeah, we have the 3rd eye, that's the LiDAR, and as you may know, it provides the 3D point clouds, which helps us, for example, detecting the free space or detecting any obstacles. And then we have the 6th generation of ultrasonic sensor, and this usually helps in low-speed application, for example, detecting the platform or for the coupling assist. Okay, so we have all this information. What's next? Yeah, we process it with our brain, but for an automated system on a tram, of course, it's named RPU, Rail Processing Unit. It's basically just a control unit that fuses the output from all the sensors, it processes it, and then it takes a decision. If we take a basic use case, we detect a person in front of the tram, which is in the collision area. And we also have some other information, for example, that the tram has a speed of 20 kilometers per hour. We analyze all this information, and we identify a potential risk. So what's next is to warn the driver. Yeah, and the third component, as I said, are the muscles that for us, they help us to take action. But for a system that is mounted on the tram, this can trigger, for example, acoustic or visual signals, like a buzzer or whatever, and that can be implemented, that can be done with an HMI, for example. Yeah, in critical scenarios, of course, we can also trigger the automated braking system. Okay, and in order to improve our system, we have two other components that are pretty important. One is regarding the localization. So for that, we have this IMU that has an accelerometer and a gyroscope that basically provides the information about how we accelerate or how we brake or how are we changing our direction when we are in a curve, for example. And besides this, we also have a GNSS that provides the absolute global coordinates. Yeah, and the other component is related to the connectivity and communication part. And for that, we can connect to a Bosch cloud instance, and we can also update our software. So for example, if we update the neural networks, we don't need to go there on the tram, but we can do it all remotely using this over-the-air technology. So this is like a basic explanation of how it works and the sensors that we are using. And now, as I said, I will let Ovidiu present you our product.
Now we are going to analog tapping the screen. Okay, so the Tram suite, it's a collection of different ADAS systems which can work together or they can work individually, some of them. The base of the entire tram assist is the forward assist. Okay, we have to tap on forward assist. Okay, forward assist uses the MPC3 and Generation 5 radars, detects different objects like buses, trucks, detects the trucks, the motorcycle to vehicles, different cars, also speed signs and different signals. For example, can detect speed limitation and send an information to the tram controller to change to stop or to brake, and can also detect a red light, for example. Tap to continue. Okay. We can warn up to 80 kilometers per hour and avoid collision up to 45 kilometers per hour. Usually the trams, the speed of the tram are limited in almost the majority of the networks up to 50 kilometers per hour, I think. But there are some networks where they can go with a higher speed. Tap to continue. Okay. We can, here are some use cases presented. We can also detect trams which are coming from the flank, and adapt also the speed to the tram speed. If we are tapping, we are following the tram which comes from the, yeah, you can tap. We are following that tram, and we know which the radar knows the speed of the tram from forward, and can send the information and adapt the speed of the ego tram by following that tram. Okay. Now we are going to the next by adding a LiDAR, which is a later development, adding a LiDAR, we can decide, or the tram can decide, if he can pass a car or an object which is very close to the tram gauge, and this is done by the LiDAR, and the LiDAR can also detect people who are laying down or something like that. Okay. The next system, it's near range assist, uses ultrasonic sensors, and the use cases are those ultrasonic sensors can detect the platforms and decide or send information which door should be open, the left or the right side. And other use cases for the near range assist are the climbing. You can tap the climbing people, and also, which are climbing on the coupling. Some of the trams have couplings outside, and also, for example, here, if we start, and it's an object which is not seen by the driver. The system can alert the driver is something in front. This is why I think the product it's very good for retrofitting, for example, because the old trams do not have do not comply with the latest visibility standards, for example, and they should detect the child at 60 centimeters around the cabin. Okay. The flank assist, for example, it detects and warn and make the driver aware that it's an object which is traveling and has a high plausibility to enter in front of it. From the blind spots of the tram. Also, the tram has some blind spots. So this is one of the use case of the flank assist. We can go further, and basically it extends the area which is monitored by the forward assist. It extends that area also in that blind spot. Focus assist, it's monitoring the driver and his attention. Maybe the driver is not there. Maybe the driver has sleeping. It's a micro sleep, or he's talking at phone, or he's talking, or he's smoking. These kind of things can be detected by the infrared camera, which is used inside the cabin. So I think this is the last product that we decide now home. We are going home. Is the last product that we decided to present here. Of course, the use cases are these are just a few of the use cases that can be implemented using all these sensors, and I think it's just one switch to the last page, and it's a QR code there. If you want to have more information about the product, you can scan it directly. Ultima pagină. Da. Cu telecomanda. Okay. So if you have questions.
Finally, an automotive presentation today.
Okay. So this is a 10-minute presentation because the subject is, of course, we could. The first time we tried, we had, I think, 30 minutes.
It's definitely longer presentation. And you can. I was, asking Diana. So basically, you can apply this to trains. The plan is to apply this to real train, not necessarily tram.
Yeah, also to trains.
Yes.
Can be. Yeah.
Okay. Not about management, no?
It leads to that. So, what is the standard of safety that you follow? The one from automotive or the one from railway?
Rail has its own standards, so of course
And do you have it implemented?
Safety. It's not a safety relevant product, let's say like that, because it's just an assistant system. So driver is always in control and he decides if something it's okay or not, because sometimes he will consider that doesn't need to brake. He can decide, okay, we will brake later. He has always the possibility to, but if we go to the automated driving, then yeah, the things will change, but we are far away from there right now. Then we will need a still safety level for sure. Sorry? Not really. It's ongoing. So yeah.
But this tram is in Cluj, right? I mean, it's implemented, it's running in Cluj.
So in Cluj, we have a project together with City Hall, University, Technical University, and CTP, of course. They have the tram. So there it's a TFCW product, which is a serious product. We have it all around the world. We have more than 3,050 system delivered. It's the actual.
So there's the production.
Yeah, for that one, yes. The forward assist is the next level. We improve, we change the components, we upgrade the components, and this is still under development, but we already have it and did some tests on the tram in Cluj.
Okay.
So it's
that's development
live lab.
too,
It's a live lab where we can test our products.
Sounds great. Okay, any more questions?
I would like to know what type of testing are you using? Are you using real-world testing or mock data, or what's the process?
So we are doing measurements. We are going with the measurement equipment. We are collecting data. We see resimulate for some new versions. But of course, the release is done, I think, directly on the field. We are doing some tests.
One detail, I forgot to tell you that we'll give free invitation 30 days, but we'll start from here because we forgot to monitor you. Okay. Any more questions? Okay. And when do you think we'll have a train in Romania that will run with this?
When they pay it. So the product it's ready to be installed from our point of view. We will have it next year, I think, for a series. We already have the hardware of the core of this tram suite, the forward assist, and yeah.
Oh, sounds great. Yeah, hopefully they will get some, I know, European money maybe, or who knows.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. And now let's go to the next. Okay, that's a PowerPoint. Sorry. Oh, Ramona will be next for sure. Okay.
Hi, my name is Ramona Sângerean, and I am a senior SEO executive for Betfair Romania Development. My article and my slides are in Romanian, but I'm happy to present in English for our English-speaking guests. And I'm going to talk about another type of engines, search engines like Google. And my article is about how we can use the SEO tools to improve the product by creating new types of content. I will talk you through the reasons why we still need to do SEO, the different types of keywords and the different types of SEO tools. And then I'm going to show you a practical case study on how we implemented some changes to create new types of content on our Betfair Casino product. But first of all, why do we still need to do SEO? Well, there's reasons to do SEO because in terms of marketing channels, SEO is the most cost-effective ones. If we compare it to the paid channels like PPC and paid Facebook ads, for SEO we invest minimal budget, and the return on investment is huge. Then SEO is a really sustainable channel, which means that we can implement changes to a page to optimize it today. And this page will bring revenue and traffic for months or even years to come without investing additional marketing budget. And then for SEO, we can always base our decisions based on tools that help measure results. So there's not a lot of room for trial and error. Our decisions are data-driven. Now, when we say SEO, we are speaking about keywords. And the keywords are the terms that users are searching on Google when they want to find different websites. There are navigational keywords when a user searches for a certain website. They already have a brand in mind, like Betfair Casino or IT Days. There are informational keywords where the users are looking for an information and they don't really care about where they will get that info from. And this is the area where ChatGPT is taking more and more share of voice. We as SEO are losing this share of voice to ChatGPT. But there's also commercial and transactional keywords where users have the intent to purchase, but when it comes to commercial keywords, they haven't made a decision exactly where to make the purchase. And then in transactional keywords, they know exactly what or where they want to purchase. And these are the keywords that we are targeting with SEO. Now, just a quick running through the main SEO tools. We are going to be using crawlers, tools that imitate Google's behavior. And then we are going to use different types of tools to measure search volume, benchmarking tools to see what competitors are doing, and then tools to measure the results of our campaigns. And now let's go to the case study. I am going to present our product, Betfair Casino, which is an online casino targeting the UK and the Irish market. That it has been around for several years, and it's a mature product. It has been optimized for SEO, and we were looking into ways on how to further develop this product, how to create new types of content. And the first things we did was looking at the existing content that we already have on the website and how we can create new category pages based on what we already had. Now, for this, I'm going to walk you step by step through the case study. And the first step would be how to collect the data based on the content that we already have live. And for this, we are going to use a crawler. The crawler that I'm presenting here is called Screaming Frog, and it's a tool that imitates Google's behavior. Basically, it goes to the homepage of the website and then follows all the internal links, all the internal architecture, and tries to find the category pages, the game pages, the promotional pages, everything that is linked within the website. And it will index those pages to show them to users that search on Google. So what I did here, using Screaming Frog, I just inputted the homepage URL, and I extracted all the data from the website, which is all the URLs, all the title tags, all the status codes, and exported all this data into a CSV file. I'm going to show you now a few other methods to collect the data, and then I'm going to show you how we analyze these files. The second way to collect data is looking at our internal databases. So on the website, we know that we have more than 1,000 slot games, roulette games, blackjack games, and those were the main category pages that we had. But when looking at the databases and at the different filters, we have noticed that there's a lot more opportunities. We could see what are the different types of bonuses for each game, what are the game themes, what are the different mechanics, volatility. So there were new ways to create category pages that we didn't use in the past. The third way to collect data was using Google Analytics. And here you can see a report that shows us what are the terms that users are searching for using our search bar. So we can export the report, and there we have all the terms, all the games, all the different categories that the users are searching for on our website. Now here we were able to identify what were the most popular games, but we also identified new games that users were searching for but were not in our portfolio, and even new category ideas. And then the fourth method is not related to what we already have on the website, but to what competitors have. So by using tools like Ahrefs or SEMrush, we can compare the content on our website to the content that our competitors have by running a competitive analysis. Basically, we just input our URL and the competitor URL, and then we can pull out a list of keywords that our competitors have rankings for what we don't have. So this is how we collected the data, and then now we are going to move to the next step of the methodology, which is mapping the keywords. Now I'm going back to the Excel file that I exported with the internal data, and just by pulling out the title tag column in Excel, I was able to split all the terms that I could find on the title tag column, and then just add them in a pivot table and see exactly which are the terms that are the most frequent within the title tags. This was based on thousands of pages, but if you have a lower number of pages, we can just use a word cloud for easier visualization. The third step in our methodology is prioritizing these pages. So we now have a bunch of keywords, and we want to see exactly which should be the first pages that we create. And for this, we are going to use Google's keyword planner to see exactly which are the most popular keywords based on search volume. So there we can see that Slingo, the first term, has 74,000 searches per month, and we can prioritize those categories. Obviously, the ones that have the highest search volume will attract the most traffic. Now for Betfair Casino, we already had some of these category pages live. We just needed to create new pages for the new categories that weren't covered. Now in Google Keyword Planner, there's also the option to generate new keyword ideas. Basically, we input a search term, and the tool will provide a list of new keywords from the same domain or the same lexical family that it thinks is relevant. And we will also have the search volumes and further decide if we want to create those pages. Then we will move to creating the actual pages using the CMS. We just need to create original, unique content. Google doesn't like duplicate content. It doesn't like scraped content. Content needs to be as unique, as original, and as useful as possible for the readers. And there are several elements that need to be optimized by adding the main keyword. So the title tag, the URL structure, the headings, the alts of the images, and tell Google exactly what this page is about. And then the last step is measuring the results. I cannot show you exactly what the results of the project was, but I can show you different ways to measure your own results. You can look at traffic data compared to the previous period. You can look at the number of keywords that rank in top 10, and then apply your own commercial data to see exactly what the business value of these new pages was. Now, this was an example of a website that was already mature. It was already optimized for years. But what are we going to do with a website that doesn't have SEO optimization? So if we are looking, for example, at today's software magazine, and there are some older articles where we run a crawl and we can just see number 100, number 101. Google doesn't know exactly, doesn't understand what this page is about, and cannot rank a certain article because users are not searching for number 100. They are searching for something about JavaScript or QA or automotive. So it doesn't make sense to Google. So what are we going to do in this situation? You can find the answer at IT Days. And now if you have any questions, if not, thank you so much and let's connect.
Thank you, Ramona. That was quite a surprise. Okay, so if you have any questions. So basically, I should put there more, what is the issue about but the article is fine, right? I mean, if you crawl the article, they find something. I mean, I have some titles.
They are not fine. They are gold. They are perfect for Google. There's original content. We have authors. We are sending all the signals. So they're super, super good for Google. Yeah. Yes, but we would just need to create some category pages based on different areas like software development, product development, QA, automation.
Yeah, I have a friend who was doing kind of SEO at some point, and he was telling me that for each article I should write a special description, and that will really help Google to better ranking, maybe.
You could do that for categories, but not for the articles themselves.
So for the categories, okay.
Yes, the articles are already have very, very good content.
Okay. And one question. So, okay, you are Betfair, and but do you have a lot of pages where you are, I don't know, number one in ranking or stuff like that? You have pages like this, right? Okay.
Many of them, yes.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yes, I'm working on the casinos, so not on the sports websites. And for all the terms that are related to roulette, to jackpots, blackjack, yes, we have top rankings in the UK. In the UK,
but not all of the... And in Romania is the same?
It's a different product. In Romania, we have Vegas, and it's on that RO. It's a different compliance, different team. I think they have good rankings, but they should.
Great. Okay, so any other questions or? Okay, we have one here.
I imagine, thank you for your presentation, first of all. I imagine as a good SEO, you're using AI, if not daily, hourly. My question for you is, has it come up with some creative ideas for you in terms of new categories? Has it helped you, or were the tools that you used internally more helpful in this way?
So in terms of creating new content, new ideas, not so much, because it tends to hallucinate a lot. I do use AI when it comes to the page structure. There I got really good ideas on how to better structure the content, how to create new headings, which parts I should leave out, or I was able to compare different pieces of content, and AI would flag which one's best. But in terms of actually creating the text, I don't use it so much, because I think it's more relevant to add accurate information. and AI is hallucinating a lot, at least on what I experimented with. But it still offers a lot of tips on how to make the existing content better. Thanks for the question.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you, Ramona. Let's give her a round of applause. Merci. And now the next presentation will be from Adrian. Adrian, we do want in Romanian or English, it's how you prefer.
Regardless, if you want, I can switch to Romanian. It's the subject about the Romanian fiscal law, and I don't know if it's such interesting for the English speaking people, but I can continue with English.
Maybe let's do it in Romania because it's more. Yeah. Maybe we will not understand you actually.
Aș vrea să încep cu două întrebări. În primul rând, în sală, câți dintre voi sunt cu PFA sau cu SRL? Ok. Deci avem ceva lume. Restul presupun că sunt salariați. Ok. Da, corect. În tot contextul actual în care discutăm de austeritate, discutăm de legi care să ajute bugetul să-și revină și sunt foarte multe modificări pe zona asta fiscală, pe zona impozitelor și taxelor, am considerat că e vremea să revenim un pic cu un articol la TSM. Cred că 2018 a fost ultimul. Am rămas un pic uimit. Nu? Ok, așa. La mine era 2018 și am rămas surprins. Și aș vrea să trecem un pic în vedere principalele forme de organizare, pentru că sunt foarte multe modificări care au intervenit în ceea ce privește modul în care codul fiscal se raportează la impozitarea acestora. Prima și cea mai ușoară dintre ele este zona de PFA și aici, în afară de impozitul clasic pe care probabil îl știți, de 10% aplicat impozitului pe venit, începând cu anul 2026, ne așteptăm la o modificare în ceea ce privește contribuția de sănătate, care ar trebui să crească de la 60 de salarii cât este în anul curent. Ultimele informații sunt că ar merge câte 72 de salarii. La începutul lunii august, plafonul maxim până la care se calcula sănătatea era propus la 90 de salarii, dar pare să că au fost foarte multe sfori trase și s-a ajuns ca creșterea să fie doar la 72 de salarii. Aia înseamnă că dacă voi aveți un venit care este în jurul a 50 de salarii minime pe economie la nivelul unui an întreg, voi să plătiți sănătate la nivelul întregului venit pe care îl aveți. Deci nu plătiți la 72 de salarii. Dar dacă o să ajungeți să aveți un venit net de 2 milioane de euro, rămâne contribuția de sănătate calculată la nivelul acelor 72 de salarii minime. Contribuția la pensie rămâne neschimbată la 25%, dar aplicată la două plafoane. Dacă veniturile sunt sub 12 salarii minime, nu se calculează deloc pensie. Dacă e între 12 și 24 salarii minime, ajungem să calculăm la plafonul de 12 salarii minime. Și când veniturile depășesc cele 24 de salarii minime, ajungem să rămânem plafonat la cele 24. În contextul a ceea ce vom continua să discutăm pe partea de SRL, PFA-ul devine din ce în ce mai interesant, mai ales în cazul în care rămâne plafonarea doar la 72 de salarii. Aici contează foarte mult de veniturile care le aveți și ar merita o analiză mai amănunțită. În ceea ce privește partea de SRL, aici au intervenit mai multe modificări și după cum ați văzut în ultimii ani, zona de impozit pe venitul micro-întreprinderilor începe să fie din ce în ce mai restrânsă, iar condițiile sunt din ce în ce mai drastice ca să fie limitat accesul acolo. Din nou avem un an de inflexiune în care, începând cu 2026, se schimbă plafonul maxim până la care se poate calcula, plafonul maxim al cifrei de afaceri până la care se poate calcula impozitul pe venitul micro-întreprinderilor și acesta va scădea de la 250.000 de euro la 100.000 de euro. Da. Chiar dacă plafonul este valabil începând cu anul 2026, prima verificare care o vom face în ianuarie, o vom face tot raportând acest plafon nou de 100.000 de euro la totalul cifrei de afaceri din anul 2025. Și astfel, dacă cumva în anul 2025 ați avut o cifră de afaceri care a fost de 200.000 de euro, în cursul anului 2025 nu este nevoie ca să vom schimbați impozitul în impozit pe profit, ci puteți să rămâneți tot anul plătitor de impozit pe venitul micro-întreprinderilor, dar începând cu 1 ianuarie 2026 este obligatoriu ca să aplicați impozitarea sub formă de impozit pe profit. Și această impozitare presupunând un 16% aplicat la profitul impozabil al firmei. Profit impozabil pe care putem să-l calculăm raportând venituri impozabile din care se scad cheltuielile deductibile. Probabil ăsta ar trebui să fie un următorul subiect care să-l scriem în revistă. Ce cheltuieli deductibile putem să aducem pe o companie? Subiect care este de interes și pe partea de PFA, că și acolo discutăm de venituri nete. Depinde foarte mult de cum dorești să stai la discuții cu inspectorii de la finanțe în momentul în care vin într-un control. Eu am văzut foarte multe lucruri scoase afară și după aia dobânzi penalități perioada din urmă când se constată că de fapt nu erau cheltuieli ale firmei. Ok. Aș mai puncta 2-3 chestiuni care vin ca și condiții pe partea de micro-întreprinderi începând cu anul 2026, dar nu sunt doar raportate la 2026. Principala modificare care am menționat este schimbarea plafonului la 100.000 de euro. Dar aș avea câteva atenționări pe care le-aș aduce ca dacă sunteți sub plafonul de 100.000 de euro și puteți în continuare să aplicați impozitul pe venitul micro-întreprinderilor, să nu cumva să-l pierdeți dintr-o neatenție. În primul rând, aș menționa faptul că dacă aveți asociați în firmă, sunteți mai mulți care v-ați unit într-o întreprindere sau mai aveți alte companii cu care alte business-uri și ați deschis un alt SRL pentru aceste business-uri, cifra de afaceri de 100.000 de euro, respectiv 250.000 de euro de anul ăsta, se calculează cumulat pe tot grupul de întreprinderi pe care le aveți. Dacă asociații pe care mai aveți în companie, care sunt peste 25%, va trebui să-i rugați să vă anunțe ce cifre de afaceri au în celelalte business-uri și să vedeți dacă totalizarea cifrelor de afaceri este sub 100.000 de euro, respectiv 250.000 de euro. În cazul în care se depășește, nici o firmă din grupul respectiv nu are voie să mai aplice impozitul pe venitul micro-întreprinderilor. Și ca și, iarăși, o chestiune destul de ciudată în legislație, se adună inclusiv veniturile din PFA-uri. Este pentru prima dată când se face o legătură directă între veniturile de la un PFA și veniturile de la un SRL, dar acolo suntem la ora actuală. Și încă o atenționare. ați spus că mulți din cei care au SRL sunt de fapt și angajați în SRL-ul lor pentru că aveau nevoie de contractul respectiv de muncă ca să poată să păstreze micro-întreprinderea. Există o chichiță în modul în care legislația s-a raportat la acest salariat. Dacă la un moment dat vă îmbolnăviți, aveți o răceală pentru care ajunge medicul de familie să vă dea un concediu medical. Acel concediu medical reprezintă o suspendare a contractului de muncă. Legislația spune că dacă este singurul contract de muncă, ai voie să ai un maxim 30 de zile de suspendare a contractului de muncă la nivelul unui an de zile ca să poți să-ți păstrezi calitatea de plătitor de impozit pe venitul micro-întreprinderilor. Dar ai voie o singură dată să suspenzi. Cu alte cuvinte, dacă în ianuarie ai avut o zi de concediu medical și în iunie ai încă o zi de concediu medical, începând cu luna iunie deja nu mai îndeplinești condițiile și va trebui ca începând cu 1 aprilie să schimbi impozitarea pe impozit pe profit. Mare atenție la partea asta de concedii medicale. Dacă vi s-a emis un concediu medical și vă dați seama, ups, asta nu trebuia să fac, nu trebuia să las medicul să facă treaba asta, nu-l rupeți, nu-l ascundeți de contabil pentru că riscați peste 4 ani de zile să vină un control, să găsească, în mod normal ei au acces la casa de sănătate, se comunică între instituții și ești obligat ca și companie să ții cont de concediile medicale respective. Ok. Pentru 2026 rămânem cu aceleași opțiuni de impozitare pe zona de SRL. La impozitul pe venitul micro-întreprinderilor avem 1% dacă nu depășim plafonul de 60.000 de euro și ne încadrăm pe caienurile care sunt prezentate în lege. Sunt câteva caienuri cu excepție care caienurile respective vor trebui să aplice din prima, chiar dacă sunt sub 60.000 de euro, vor trebui să aplice impozitul cu 3%, iar zona de IT în proporție de cam 99% se încadrează la excepție și trebuie să intre direct cu 3%. Plafonarea până în 100.000 de euro pentru cei 3%, după care avem impozitul pe profit, care se aplică calculând 16%, iar acest impozit, începând de anul trecut sau de acum 2 ani de zile, impozitul pe micro este opțional. Deci dacă la un moment dat vă hotărâți că este mai bine să aplicați profit, se poate face modificarea, este mult mai ușor față de legislația dinainte în care era obligatoriu să păstrezi micro dacă te încadrai pe plafon. Din contra, aveai de niște inginerii de îndeplinit ca să poți să te transformi pe profit în anumite circunstanțe. Următorul subiect fierbinte de anul următor va fi impozitul pe dividende. Probabil cei care aveți SRL de mai multă vreme știți că am avut 5%, după care am trecut la 8%, anul ăsta am fost pe 10% impozit pe dividende, iar începând de la 1 ianuarie 2026 va crește la 16%. Pe lângă impozitul pe dividende de 16%, nu uitați că aveți obligația să depuneți declarația unică pentru ca să vă declarați partea de sănătate. Aici va trebui să aveți grijă. Dacă nu aveți venituri din salarii și nu aveți acoperită partea de sănătate minimă, va trebui să plătiți și la plafonul de 6 salarii, dar în general avem plafoane de la 12 și la 24 de salarii minime. Deocamdată, din fericire, nu s-a discutat nimic concret pentru modificarea celor 24 de salarii minime plafon la sănătate în zona asta de dividende și sperăm să nu le vină alte idei în perioada următoare. Întrebarea cea mai des întâlnită în perioada asta a fost cum putem să ne folosim mai mult de impozitul ăsta de 10% și pentru profitul de anul curent. După cum probabil știți, se pot scoate dividende și în cursul anului pentru profiturile obținute în cursul anului. Nu mai este nevoie ca și acum vreo 7-8 ani de zile în urmă, cred că, să aștept să se termine anul, să depui bilanțul și doar apoi să distribui dividendele. Ce puteți face este ca să distribuiți dividendele inclusiv până la trimestrul 3. Deci, după ce încheiem acum luna septembrie, începând cu 1 octombrie, va trebui să rugați contabilul să pregătească situațiile financiare interimare ca să puteți să faceți distribuirea dividendelor. Dacă nu doriți să ridicați banii respectivi, ci doar vreți să punctați partea asta de impozit, să nu ajungeți să calculați impozitul cu 16%, nu este nevoie ca banii să-i distribuiți efectiv. Banii pot să rămână în firmă, dividendele sunt distribuite, dar neplătite. Puteți să-i luați banii respectivi de-a lungul întregul anului următor. Impozitul va fi plătit până în 25 ianuarie 2026 la nivel de 10% și banii sunt la dispoziția noastră când anume îi doriți sau când ajungeți să aveți cash efectiv în firmă. Ok. Și aș mai puncta câteva noutăți cu privire la TVA. Avem o noutate cu privire la plafonul până la care puteți să rămâneți neplătitori. Este după o lungă perioadă de timp, se ridică plafonul la 395.000 de lei față de 300.000 de lei care a fost până anul acesta, ceea ce este un plus pentru foarte mulți, dar se schimbă radical modul în care se face schimbarea în momentul în care ați atins plafonul. Până acum, dacă, de exemplu, în luna august ajungeați să depășiți plafonul de 300.000 de lei, trebuia ca până în 5 septembrie să anunțați autoritățile fiscale că ați depășit plafonul respectiv, iar cu 1 noiembrie deveneați plătitori de TVA. Aia înseamnă că mai aveați încă aproape 2 luni de zile, dacă depășirea era la începutul lunii, aproape 2 luni de zile în care rămâneați neplătitori de TVA, deși ați depășit plafonul respectiv. Puteați să aveți tranzacții de milioane de euro în perioada asta, nu erați afectați de partea asta de TVA. Dar începând de anul acesta, se modifică acest aspect și va trebui să deveniți plătitori de TVA, să vă înscrieți ca și plătitori de TVA, începând cu tranzacția cu care ați depășit plafonul. Dacă aveți 394.000 de lei cifră de afaceri în data de astăzi, 25 septembrie, și vă mai hotărâți că mai faceți o factură de 2.000 de lei către cineva, tranzacția aceasta trebuie să fie purtătoare de TVA. Sincer, nu știu să vă zic cum o să se miște finanțele în timp așa de scurt pe partea asta de a vă oferi codul de TVA și formularistica necesară, dar cert este că trebuie să colectați TVA începând cu această tranzacție. Nu știu să vă spun ce se întâmplă dacă 10 minute mai târziu faceți o factură de storno de 10.000 de lei și ajungeți din nou sub plafon, dar deocamdată discutăm cronologic de depășirea plafonului, nu avem opțiuni de a rămâne totuși neplătitor. Ok? Ca și recomandări directe, ar fi un moment bun ca să faceți niște simulări de calcule pe acest final de an. Probabil într-o săptămână, 2 ar cam trebui să vedem niște concluzii și pe pachetul 2 de măsuri fiscale care ar trebui să cuprindă inclusiv plafonul la sănătate de la PFA-uri și pe final de an ar fi un moment bun să recalculați un pic, să vedeți dacă este optim să rămâneți în forma de organizare pe care o veți sau ar fi mai bine să schimbați. trecerea pentru zona IT de la plătitor de impozit pe venitul micro-întreprinderilor la plătitor de impozit pe profit, de obicei este foarte dură, pentru că, în general, profitul contabil la o firmă de IT este aproape 1 la 1 cu venitul, cu cifra de afaceri. Și atunci, practic, ajungi să mai mult decât triplat impozitul. Fiți atenți la partea de concedii, fiți atenți la grupul de firme și dacă aveți nevoie să vă ajutăm cu calcule, cu consultanță, vă stăm la dispoziție.
Bun. Dar cred că sunt prea multe schimbări deja.
Mai așteptăm încă.
Okay. Auzi, dacă ai un PFA, cât te costă pe lună dacă nu produci nimic? Sau nu știu. Acum mă gândeam.
Dacă nu produci nimic, deci nu ai deloc facturi,
foarte puțin, da?
Nu ajungi să plătești nimic.
Serios? Deci, că mai de mult știu că era acum 10-15 ani, aveai de plată parcă ceva. Sau era la normă și nu mai este chestia aia. Deci plătești numai pe cât faci.
Da.
Okay.
Și norma era pusă acolo ca să te ajute în momentul în care știai că o să depășești.
Da.
Dar în zona IT-ului norma a dispărut cu...
Și atunci nu mai merită.
Mai este în pe alte caienuri, a rămas norma, dar nu în zona de IT nu...
Ok. Bun.
Și PFA-ul rămâne în continuare o opțiune foarte viabilă pentru zona de IT. Ce este foarte ok, mai ales pentru startup-uri, dacă nu ai avut venituri, ajungi să nu ai de plată, că totul se raportează la venituri minus cheltuieli.
Okay.
E procent asupra unui venit minus cheltuială. N-ai venituri, n-ai la ce să aplici. Și sănătate,
sau dacă cheltui foarte mult, dacă reușești să-ți cheltui tot.
Probabil ar...
Cum o să fim și noi pe profit de anul, mă rog, mă gândesc.
Da. Deci se calculează la venitul net, cu siguranță, și cheltuielile contează foarte mult, dar va trebui văzut ce înseamnă cheltuială deductibilă pentru PFA-ul respectiv. Avem zone de business-uri unde un PlayStation poate să fie o cheltuială deductibilă și zone în care un PlayStation nu este cheltuială deductibilă. Ai adus-o în firmă, dar nu poți să o scazi pentru calculul de impozit.
Ok. Motociclete poți oricâte?
Putem să discutăm despre ele și s-ar putea să intre, s-ar putea să...
Le lași pe firul, asta e de aici un profit, dar măcar nu. Bun. Dacă avem întrebări din sală. Avem una de la Andrei. E un întuneric aici la voi, că nu vă pot filma nici cum.
Care e situația în cazurile în care sunt și angajat și am și un PFA în alt domeniu de activitate? Să spunem că am un PFA care produce undeva un venit de sub 12 salarii minime, nu știu, sub 30.000 sau cât era, și are un profit de 1.000 de lei sau ceva în genul ăsta. Până acum plăteam doar pe 1.000 de lei 5%, jumătate din impozit. Cum e acum?
Cât a fost perioada de normă, conta faptul că ai un contract de muncă, dar acum nu mai ajută cu absolut nimica. Sănătatea se plătește oricum și...
Deci sănătate la profit sau la venit voi plăti?
Sănătate, deci discutăm de PFA, ai zis.
Da, un PFA?
Deci la un PFA discutăm de venitul net. Dacă venitul net este peste 12 salarii, se plătește la nivelul celor 12 salarii. Dacă este peste 6 salarii, se plătește la 6 salarii, dacă discutăm la zona asta. Nici...
Și dacă e sub?
Peste 6 salarii, dacă discutăm de venituri care sunt peste 6 salarii, se plătește efectiv 10% aplicat la venitul net sănătatea. Până se atinge plafonul de 60 de salarii în anul curent, probabil 72 de salarii pentru veniturile aferente lui 2026. Dar nu mai contează partea de venit din salarii.
Ok.
Deci număr fix, număr fixă?
Nu, deci sănătatea se plătește variabil la venitul net până ai atins 60
deci
sau
plătește
72.
50 de lei dacă nu face bani sau așa, nu? Adică
Da.
Da, dacă n-are.
Nu știu cât vine, 6 salarii ori 10%, nu cred că e vreo 500.
De 6 salarii plătești
500.
oricum de pe 6 salarii.
Dacă ai depășit 6 salarii,
dacă
dacă
nu,
ești sub, nu.
Plătești procent din...
Nu plătești nimic sub 6 salarii.
Nu plătești nimic?
Da.
Ok. No, deci
dar cu condiția să ai undeva plătită sănătate. Deci la ora actuală în România ar cam te constrânge undeva să ai plătită sănătatea.
Da, sănătatea e... Da.
La nivelul a 6 salarii ar trebui în ceva domeniu să ai. Că ai venituri din dividende, că ai venituri din salarii, că ai venituri din investiții, undeva trebuie să ajungi să plătești sănătate la minim 6 salarii.
Bun, dar astea 6 salarii, pe declarația unică se adaugă banii din CIM plus PFA sau doar în PFA independent?
Din păcate, în România poți să ajungi să plătești sănătate din cam 3 sau 4 direcții și vă zic în felul următor. Deci, odată, dacă ai contract de muncă, dacă ai venituri din PFA și mai este încă un plafon care se aplică la toate celelalte tipuri de venituri, în sensul de venituri din investiții, unde ai dividende, dobânzi, acțiuni, chirii, venituri din drepturi de autor, venituri din... ce mai era? Mai era ceva. Da, oricum, celelalte venituri, toate cumulate, o să cumuleze un plafon care se calculează la 12 sau 24 de salarii și se plătește la plafoanele astea. Dacă ai venituri din PFA între 6 și până la 72 de salarii, vom avea un alt plafon la care vom plăti sănătate, iar la nivelul contractului de muncă se plătește la nivelul întregului salar. Deci ai 3 direcții în care plătești, dacă ai din toate 3, plătești toate 3, pentru toate 3 sănătate. Dar în schimb, dacă ai drepturi de autor și chirii, ajungi să plătești calculând cele două cumulat, veniturile, și dacă ai depășit 24, te oprești acolo. Te rog.
Okay. România e undeva pe la mijlocul clasamentului cu combinat, cu impozit și cu cote și taxe. Cine e pe primul loc?
Sincer, nu mi-aduc aminte acum, dar cred că era undeva prin zona Norvegia, cred că erau cu taxele cele mai mari. M-aș abține să dau un răspuns direct, că nu mai aduc aminte exact.
Deci încă nu plecăm de aici. Bun, hai că mai luăm o întrebare.
Aș vrea să zic că îmi pare rău, dar nu-mi pare rău. Eu cu PFA, cu altă persoană cu PFA, putem prelua un proiect ca să nu trecem la firmă.
Vreți cumva să vă asociați? Adică?
Nu știu, întreb din punct de vedere legal în ce măsură se poate face asta.
Deci, în mod oficial, la PFA nu poți să ai asociat. PFA-ul de asta e persoană fizică autorizată. Există posibilitatea, dacă dispui de soț, de părinți, sunt întreprinderile familiale care se pot forma, dar în general 2 persoane fizice care nu au o legătură de rudenie apropiată, eu nu știu să fie o variantă în care se poate să ajungeți să formați o singură unitate. Dar în schimb, depinde ce calitate are persoana respectivă, că, de exemplu, dacă vă ajută complementar, puteți să o angajați pe PFA. Deci, dacă faceți zona de IT programare, nu aveți voie să vă luați încă un programator care să lucreze pe PFA, ca și angajat. Dar puteți să luați pe cineva care face o muncă complementară la activitatea noastră și care să vă ajute.
Și asta e valabil pentru toate domeniile? Deci nu mă interesează.
Da, deci nu are legătură doar cu...
Deci, practic, dacă suntem pe aceeași poziție, nu o să pot să angajez pe...
Nu.
Ok, mulțumesc.
Și dacă ar fi să schimbăm, nu știu, să te muți cu impozite în altă țară, ce ai recomanda?
Eu pun problema în felul următor. Dacă vrei să te muți cu tot acolo, nu este o problemă.
Dacă nu te muți, rămâi aici.
Dacă nu te muți, sunt riscuri. Pentru că avem DAC 6 și avem legislație în care îți spune că ar trebui să te uiți unde e managementul, unde este centru logistic pentru business-ul respectiv, unde e oamenii care lucrează, unde e baza materială pentru business-ul respectiv și atunci se consideră optimizare fiscală forțată dacă tu, de exemplu, te duci în Estonia cu firma, dar tu, angajații ai de aici, tu ca și management ești de aici și există posibilitatea ca să ajungi să-ți recalculeze
să-ți dea amendă.
Nu amendă, să-ți calculeze impozitul aici pentru veniturile obținute, de fapt, în România.
Chiar dacă n-ai firmă aici, adică ți-ai mutat tot acolo și tu n-ai nimic, ești numai, nu știu,
în
angajat.
primul rând, ai niște trigăre pentru că dacă discuți de angajați, tu ar trebui pentru angajații ăștia să plătești impozite și taxe pe salariul lor aici în România, pentru că ei sunt rezidenți fiscali în România.
Și ei ți-ar fi
iar tu, în continuare, tu ar fi rezident fiscal aici, probabil ar fi mai greu să te prindă dacă ești one-man show cu firma acolo, dar și așa eu zic că sunt riscuri semnificative.
Nu, eram curios așa dacă există un shortcut sau ceva.
Shortcut-uri sunt până te prinde și eu nu recomand că șansele sunt mari.
Dacă vorbim chestii legale.
Deci nu.
Nu sunt, ok. Bun, bine. Mulțumim mult, Adrian, și te mai așteptăm. Ok, și următoarea prezentare va fi din partea lui Paul. Sper că mai rezistați un pic. Paul nu ne mai zice pe 3 că ne-a zis Ramona.
Mulțumesc, Ovidiu. Și asta e full stop. Salutare tuturor, sunt Paul Orha din partea companiei P3. Înainte să încep prezentarea, aș vrea să pun niște întrebări de asemenea, ca să știu cui prezint. Câți dintre voi sunteți developeri? Nice, ok. Și câți dintre voi sunteți... I'll actually switch to English, sorry, for a second. My presentation was originally in Romanian, but we can do English as well. Yeah, so from the developers, how many of you are Android developers or are familiar with Kotlin? Okay, there's someone, awesome. And you're probably familiar with MVVM as well. Okay, great, we have one person, perfect. So, but no worries, because I'll try to discuss more broadly. So the topic of my presentation is mainly a unification of state in an application. I discuss mostly about an Android application, but this could be applied to any other platforms, I guess. So for the agenda for today, I will go into describing a support application for this presentation. Then I will discuss about what MVVM is and the view model in the context of MVVM. And then I will discuss the main architecture I want to describe, which is MVI, and then some different states of how you can reach a good MVI architecture. And lastly, we'll do the Q&A session. So I chose as basic an application as I could. So basically, we have a screen where you can have a pay and a sum, and then you can add a transaction with those data. And in case something goes wrong, for example, like the fields are wrong or the call of adding the transaction goes wrong, we can have an error message. So based on this is how a classical view model in the MVVM architecture would look like. So basically in MVVM, you have the view model which describes the application itself, what you can do with it without describing the UIs. It's the separation of UI and the rest of the application. In this case, it exposes, for example, the name, the amount, and the possible error that is shown, and also the interactions that the UI layer can have, such as setting the name and the sum, and then the add action itself. And it also contains some private methods, for example, validating the fields or setting up the error, which is not done by the UI layer directly. Okay, so going on. This is how the add method would look like in the view model context. So basically it does everything from validating the fields, and then if something goes wrong, you can set the error state. And if not, then you can use, for example, I defined a simple use case, which is like an action that does something, or in the database layer, or an HTTP call, whatever described here as use case. And then based on that result, you can then update the state again. Is it an error? Is it successful? Okay, so the main advantages of this MVVM architecture, which is commonly used in currently most Android applications, is like it's testable. You have the separation of the UI layer and the business logic. And then you also have this responsibility separation. So what is MVI? MVI stands for Model View Intent. Also present in architectures such as Redux. So those who know Redux, this is an equivalent of that, but currently popular in Android development. The main idea is that you have a user and you have a model. The model is the application itself. The user interacts with the model, and then the model shows its data to the user. You could say that this architecture actually applies to all applications or all systems, because that's what you do. You just interact with the system and then it shows you stuff. The idea of the MVI architecture is to put this as the first citizen, to focus on this structure itself in the code layer. So how can you achieve this? Looking at the view model previously for MVVM, you can see clearly that we already have the idea of a model and the idea of intents as shown here. So what you can read from the screen is the model layer, and then the methods themselves are intent. The first step in achieving MVI would be to isolate those separately. It would look something like this. You can use a data class for storing everything about the screen state, and then you can use an interface for describing the different actions you can do. Afterwards, updating the view model, it looks like something like this. The only change is that you publicly expose the whole state instead of separate states. And also you have like a single place where the view sends intents. You don't have different methods. And what's the advantage of this first step? So you have a single source of truth. You have the model which describes the whole application. It's not fragmented. The public API for the view is clear. It's like just 2 instances that are shown. And then you also have easier debugging, but I can get into this maybe another time. So the second step would be extracting pure functions out of the view model. So I would need to first describe what pure functions are. Pure functions in programming are the idea that given a function and some parameters, you always get the same result. And when calling these functions, you never do side effects outside of the function context. Why this is useful is because you can easily predict the behavior of the function. You can run them in parallel because it doesn't affect the outside of the scope, and they're very easy to test and debug. So how can we do this in the context of MVI? So this introduces the idea of the reducer, which is also present in Redux architecture. Basically, the reducer is a function that takes a model and an intent, and then generates a new model. For our current setup, this is how the reducer would look like. So it's pretty basic, just updates the model itself based on the fields, and then also can run the validation. And updating the view model, you can see it here, how it looks like. The main important thing here is that you can see that we still have interactions with the model outside of that reducer, because we have to do side effects. As I mentioned previously, we have to add the transaction somewhere. And after adding the transactions, we have to update the model, which you cannot do in a pure context. But the advantage is you now have pure functions. That's a good thing. Going to the third step in obtaining MVI would be, as I described previously, you have the state and you update it via the reducer, but also you can update it via different side effects. It would be ideal if we can update the state only from a single source. This introduces the idea of a store. So the store represents the container where you have the model and where secondary effects like side effects cannot trigger. This is an example of how a model could look like. And also now here I generalized the idea of a reducer to a type alias, so it helps with the code description. Going forward, we can now see that the main thing that changes doing the side effect when you save the transaction. You no longer do it, you no longer edit the state directly here because you send new intents. You have like an intent for after the transaction is added successfully, or if the transactions had an error during the add process. But the side effect is still called in the context of the view model. So also regarding the intents, you saw that I had added the new type of intents, which is like transaction added and an error was present. Those are a bit different because they're not the same intents that the user does. So that's an intent from a side effect. To treat them easier in the code, you can separate them in different classes. So you can still clearly see what are the intents that the user can do. The advantages of this step, mainly you have atomic updates because now everything is done in the store level and it's predictable. The testing and debugging is even better now, and you have now the concept of time travel because the state represents the whole application, I mean the whole screen in this case, and then you have like iterations of the state, and then you can basically treat your application like a movie based on the intent of the user. You have different snapshots of what the app looks like, and you can achieve a lot of things with this feature. Okay, so fourth step, I mentioned in the previous two steps the side effects, which are a bit tricky because you can't really use them in a pure function. So to go to the fourth step, which is localizing the side effects, I introduced the concept of effects. So in the upper part, you can see an example of an effect. Basically, an effect does some work in an environment. You can consider this like updating a database or doing an HTTP call or something that has an external effect. And then after it's done working, you have an intent that's returned by the effect. And this is the generalization of the effect idea. So given this, you can now have your reducer no longer return just the model, but now it returns an update. What is an update? So now after a user interacts with the application, it does give you the new state, but also does give you the planned actions, side effects that you want to do. So this is how the reducer would look like. The main change is now for the add call, you have the update state exposed, which is different from the previous simple state. We can zoom in on it a bit to see. So basically, this is after the transaction was successfully added. We can update the error state to be gone, but also you can describe the side effect that is going to take place. For example, adding the transaction, and then based on the result, you can send the proper event back to the store. This is not actually running the side effect, it's just describing it. So this is still pure. And then this is how the view model looks like. It's very simple now. It just has the store, it exposes the state of the application, and it handles intent. It's basically unnecessary at this point. Advantages, as I mentioned previously, you have the centralization of side effects. You put them like at the border of your application, and now you could actually say that your, in this case, screen is mostly pure functions. It's just functional programming at this point. Like it gives you a lot of power. For example, like predictable behavior, uniform behavior, easily managing states and errors in a clear stream way. And also the testing and debugging is even easier now, because now all you need to do to debug your application if you had a crash, you just have the latest state that worked and the intent that caused the crash to happen. You have everything you need to know about why that happened. So what would be the fifth layer? The fifth layer is actually what my article was mostly focused on. Up until now, I just described the single screen. which is in this case the add transaction screen. But what do you do if you want to centralize the state for the whole application? This is what usually applications that convert to MVI stop at, because they localize the store at the screen level, and then they have the whole navigation thing and any other screen behavior separate in a classical way. My proposal is to go over to the next step to actually unify everything in a single state. So how I would go about doing that? My easiest way to describe it is like, think about app screens or think about app features. What is a feature in an application? From the presentation I just gave you, I can easily describe a feature as a model. In this case was the add transaction, the intents the user can do, and the reducer, which describes what happens when the user does certain intents. So now that we've clarified the feature, we can now think about combining them. If we think about that the feature can contain multiple sub-features, everything starts to click into place, because every feature has its own reducer, and then you can compose those. And at the end of the day, you have a modular application with different features, but you have a unified state and a unified reducer. This way you can keep all the benefits I described at the screen level of having a functional application, but you can now bring it up to the whole layer without having issues that people mention usually, because I don't want to have a huge model object. Well, you don't. You have different features here. So yeah, this would be described as a single state. That's pretty much it. Thanks for bearing with me during my programming rambling. So if you have any questions.
Okay, any questions? Okay.
I have two questions for you. One, what's the most exciting thing about this model for you specifically? And secondly, is this something that you can discuss with an end client, or is it like you need to go through a few processes before you actually discuss with the client?
So I didn't really describe what you can enable, what you can enable for a client with this stuff. I will address the second part first. A place where we were able to actually put this to work, or are in the progress of doing that, is we have a request where the client wants all the business logic to be separate from the UI layer, such that in the future, when a completely new UI system, I'm not referring to a new design, but think about a whole new architecture, like using a 3D engine or something like that, can just plug into the old business logic without having to do much change. This architecture of unifying state, so up until now I haven't described UI mostly at all, but you have the whole application business logic here, and then you just have to render the state I described and then to receive the intents back. This means I can plug it in any UI system you want to.
So basically it's a shortcut.
Yes, it gives you a lot of reusability. And also
it helps with user experience. Did I understand correctly?
So regarding user experience directly, it's not actually like the end goal of this. The end goal of this is to have a scalable application that is easily to debug and test. What it helps, I mean, you can achieve the same UI layer for the user, and the other day, the user doesn't know what's behind the system itself. But the important thing is for the client. How can you scale the application? How can you reuse the stuff that you invested so much money into at this point when you want a new UI layer or something? You have like a huge application that's scaled a lot, and you have bugs and you have validations, and then how can you trace what happened in this process? So this architecture enables mostly the developer and client side, not necessarily the end user.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. One dummy question. This is working for Android in general, or are you referring to Automotive?
Yeah, so this was general Android. We ended up using this in Automotive as well. So we achieved different steps on different applications in Android Automotive. But this is like a general trend that's happening in Android. I mean, you could say actually happening the whole programming field. We are going towards a functional development infrastructure.
Ah, okay. So functional, okay.
Yeah, functional is the new...
in Android, okay, yeah, nice. Good, any more questions? Let's see, maybe.
From the performance perspective, is it much faster than other architecture?
So it's not necessarily faster, but it could be slower. There are certain things you have to be, yes. So there are certain caveats you want to take care of, because you can flood the, for example, an important thing that can mainly slow down your application in this case. So I described the whole state of the application as a single model. When you send that to the UI layer, if you then given any small changes, for example, the name in some field changes, the UI layer doesn't know how to handle just that specific change, and it renders the whole screen again, then it's very inefficient. But certain architectures and platforms such as Redux achieved this. You also have, in Android, you have Jetpack Compose, which does handle this internally, so you don't have to worry about it too much. But yeah, you have to, there are specific, when you get into the nitty-gritty, there are specific concerns regarding performance and also specific applications concerns. For example, if you have like a huge stream of data, like 60 hertz or something like that, then you might not want to do it everything on a single flow. You might want to offset that somehow and just grab snapshots. So yeah, it's not necessarily faster, I would say.
Okay. Okay, one last question.
Since it follows the MDI pattern like Redux, do you also have a store? And also, can you use reactive programming or reactive operators?
Yes. Yes, so that's the main idea of it. So the reactive side is, so as I described the side effects, the effects that are happening, you can reactively manage those in the store when handling different interactions. So the reactive programming is actually the very powerful tool that takes place here, as you know, just as in Redux, so functional and reactive programming. You can use that for the use case layer. You can use that in the whole store itself. Yeah, so it's very important in this context.
Okay, nice. Just one more question. Yep. Where is the store kept? I didn't get that part.
So up until the last layer, it's kept at the screen view model layer, because that's how most people address this. If you go to the full state management, you can keep it at the application layer, you can keep it in a service, you can keep it whatever you want, that depending on what lifecycle you want it to have. So you can actually keep it running in the background while the application is not showing at all. It empowers you very much to manage the app lifecycle more than the classic architecture allows you to.
Nice. Thanks.
Okay, let's give Paul a round of applause.
Thank you, everyone.
Actually, do we still have Arthur here or not? It's here? No, okay, so we can switch to Romanian.
A fost mai ușor să vorbesc în engleză, tehnic.
Am văzut, dar am zis că te las, vorbești în engleză, că-ți place. Bun, bine, mulțumim, Paul. Și cu asta o să facem o șmecherie, în sensul că e destul de târziu și ne-am decis să, de comun de acord cu speakerii, am decis să renunțăm la panel, că deja oricum e prea târziu. Dar haideți să premiem cele mai bune întrebări și o să le dăm cumva o invitație la IT Days. Domnișoara de acolo, domnul din spate pe ultima întrebare și pare cine? Și Sebi, nu? Haideți în față să vă aplaudăm și să iasă o poză. Și până vin ei, să vă zic o șmecherie, m-am tot jucat cu, cred că ați văzut personajul cu IT Days de anul ăsta și cine vrea să-și bată capul am pus aici deasupra lui un fel de cod, nu știu dacă l-ați văzut, și, mă rog, cine îl găsește să ne dea un semnal. Asta ar fi ideea. Bun. Bun, felicitări! Haideți să aplaudăm! Îmi trimite tu un e-mail ca să ziceți ceva și mă găsesc în revistă cu adresa. Bun? Bun, felicitări! Ne vedem la IT Days. Bun, și încă o chestie, dacă aveți prieteni în Timișoara, o să avem săptămâna viitoare, marți, o lansare în Timișoara și așteptăm și pe ei acolo. Bun, și cu asta cred că încheiem ziua de astăzi, dar mai rămânem prin zonă, mai povestim. Ok, mersi.